Okay, 7 o'clock. Recording the meeting. Okay, thanks. Okay, welcome to tonight's management committee meeting. We've got any apologies for absence.
Councillor O'Driscoll, Councillor Harrison, Councillor Bigelow and Councillor Davis.
Needs declarations of interest. Applications for a dispensation solution. And report from Ross Police.
Firstly, introductions, I guess. So I'm PC John Townsend from St. Neighbourty. I've not long joined the team. Worked for Ross-on-Wye for a long time in Ledbury. Also here tonight is my colleague.
Yeah, GC 2294 Baker, normally based in Ledbury. I've been helping out with the Ross St. Neighbours team for the last couple of weeks. So thank you everyone for having us.
Oh, yeah, thank you for coming. Thank you. Just a bit of an update. We've typed up a few notes and we'll probably read off this just to give you an overview. But as we go, so we can continue with our patrols, which have been proactive and hotspot patrols in the town centre. So hopefully you have seen us out, but I know I've seen a couple of you who had conversations, and by all means, please keep them up to us speaking to you and finding out what's going on in the community. Generally, feedback is quite positive from the community. People like to talk to us and engage, especially visitors. They love, I'm still wear our custodian helmets, and they're all very well received most of the time, which is lovely stuff to be out and speaking to people. As part of that, that continues with our kind of our visible and accessible ways with the community charter. So we hope to continue that. But one, please have a chat with us. From a personal note, for me, kind of patrolling out on foot with those hotspots, I'm seeing a little bit more of an increase in street drinking. Again, I don't know if it's time of year or just the way things are going. It's been quite low level. I talk to people and they're quite engaging, just kind of move on when asked and stop their drinking, which is kind of a low level approach, which is but moving forward, we will deal with that more robustly in the future if we need to for those really hands. Part of that, we're just going to walk around when we're on patrol and just seeing the signage and everything. And we've seen that there's about 3 signs up at the moment. I don't know if they're not particularly big. I don't know if it's just an awareness thing that we need to get across a little bit more, but I think that might just need a little bit more work, especially as we're going to go into that festive period. So it's kind of surrounding that area, so we're looking to engage with them as well. Likewise, we had one to the speeding bit.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, on the point of the signs, they're walking around by the market house. They're quite small, and a lot of people I'm sure we're dealing with who are drinking will say, "Oh, we didn't know that they're there." So for us to do it would just obviously be a point to raise to get bigger signs and more signs about the PSBO, but it seems like especially on the festive period. So on the subject of speeding, we're aware that obviously it's a concern, a continuous concern for everyone, for the residents. And we've identified 3 roads where there are lots of comments coming in about speeding being an issue, which is Ledbury Road, Walton Road, and Alton Road, though not exclusively, obviously. So as a result, we've been doing targeted speed enforcement on these roads, and we've had a number of drivers reported for speed offences where we can get the speed camera out, speed gun, and give someone a ticket on the road, which is just a really nice, simple way of sorting it there and then. And so, for example, PC Townsend and I, on 5th of November, between 3:15 and 3:15, we were on Ledbury Road, coming down from school. We recorded about 40 drivers in that time, and the average speed was 27.5 miles an hour at 30. Obviously, with the police being there, people, how it is, they want to slow down when they see the rising brackets. But I think people have commented and been out in the street actually on the hotspot patrols that they're grateful to see just a little bit more of an emphasis on that from us. So, long way up into this part. So we appreciate, obviously, that's a small snapshot in time, only half an hour, that example. And on other offences, we've stopped drivers going up to 37 miles an hour, 30, and they've been dealt with the events via a traffic ticket, like I mentioned, on the side of the road. So we've been recently sent the speed indicator device data from Ledbury Road. It's been reviewed, and in response, our traffic unit, so the operational patrol unit, which is based for the whole of Herefordshire, that's like our traffic and our firearms unit, the ones that have the plastic cars and the like. They've been tasked with conducting speed enforcement in Ross, and also you may notice the speed enforcement van has been around town, continuing to attend those key locations we mentioned. So in terms of our data from the response to this concern that's been raised, over the course of 2025, the speed enforcement van has been at Ledbury Road on 23 occasions, and within that time there have been exactly 100 offences detected. Now, taking that in the context of county-wide across Herefordshire, that's actually quite a low level of offences, considering the amount of cars that come through there. But the fact that they're still occurring frequently, and obviously resident suspension as a concern, mean that the road safety team will continue to visit this area to conduct enforcement, and alongside, ourselves, safe neighbours and officers, and also that operation of the patrol unit officers, they are still going to be in around town doing those checks. So now, BT Town is going to talk a bit about drug use and dealing in town.
Sorry, could I just ask,
Yeah.
you've been liaising with the community, we've got a community speedbox group set up, have you been liaising with them at all?
We definitely had some contact with them. Anyone in particular? You
Well, there is a nominated person who's the main point of contact. I can get his details for you, but they were very keen and have been doing it, but I haven't heard from them for a little while.
I know there have been getting emails in to say when they're going to be monitoring. So I've personally not had the opportunity to go out and meet with them yet, but that's something I'd definitely like to do.
Okay.
I know whether we start to play once or twice. I've been through it.
But so you have got their
I've
contact
got
details.
contact details. By all means, share them, and I'll go out and make contact with them.
Lovely, thank you.
Sorry, could I just ask a quick question? Wilton Car Park, that's obviously a big issue with them going to do donuts at 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the morning. And the residents around there are reporting it all the time, and nothing ever seems to be done about it.
Okay.
And it's been going on for years, it's not like a 5-minute thing.
It's a longer term issue.
Yeah.
I haven't been responsive to us for a long time.
Yeah,
I think the best thing to do is again speak to our operational patrol unit, traffic, get what's going down during the night and patrol those areas.
There is a traffic regulation order that's going through consultation to reduce the 40 mile per hour.
no, it's
Yeah,
not,
well,
it's actually in the car park.
It's actually the car
It's
park
actually in the
itself.
car park, yeah.
Yes, antisocial driving.
Yeah, the thing is, hopefully.
It's actually in the car park, but I know
It'd be
what to do
nice
with
for them
it
to actually,
well.
it to be passed to whoever it needs to be passed to.
Yeah.
I'm happy to write an email as well, but obviously, like I'm saying, they are constantly reporting this isn't just happening, this has been going on for years, so
Is it the specifics? Is it just the noise?
it's a noise.
Is it the noise?
It's a noise. And it's waking them up
Yeah.
in the middle of the night, so, sleep deprivation isn't very nice, really.
Although we can patrol down there, what would be really great for us if we have registrations of vehicles, because it helps identify. And okay, they have that.
Yeah, I've actually sent photos as well, so nothing's ever been done by it.
Okay.
So,
If maybe at the end of the meeting, if we can catch up, if you've still got those,
Yeah.
then can help them off you to
thank you,
progress that.
thank you.
In terms of drug-related activity and dealing, I know that comes up quite a lot with issues in the town and vulnerabilities. I've been speaking with our team in Hereford. They confirmed to me that this year they completed 3 separate drug-related enforcements in Ross-on-Wye alone, and a total of £5,800 worth of Class A cocaine seized, 5,120 of Class B cannabis, drug paraphernalia, cash, and other funds have been seized within those enforcements. All those suspects have been arrested and charged. In particular, a bit more recent for you. On Thursday, the 6th of November this year, police have executed a warrant in Ross-on-Wye. A large quantity of Class A drugs, mainly being cocaine, cash, paraphernalia, and other offensive weapons were seized from an address. Suspect arrested, charged, and into court. So all that intelligence that we are continuing to get with to be encourage it because we do act on it. We do it. It just takes that time to get the. It's important that you get those updates and see that we are trying to do something about it. There are positive outcomes. It's awesome.
I think, like you and I had a conversation a couple of weeks ago, and I think generally we've got a couple of, if Andy cannot report for his side for Tuesday, but we have got a couple of very vulnerable people that come into the hub that would not speak to the police in the locations that they live in. We haven't had any policing since last December and a half. And I think it's really important because it was giving people the confidence to report antisocial behaviour, cuckooing, drug use and dealing. And that has been missing since December. And it's not, it doesn't impact me, but I've seen one set of issues that we have went really, really downhill. I was aware that his place was being cuckooed. I couldn't get the intelligence enough to do anything about it. We have now regained him and he's got rid of that person, but they just moved 2 doors down. And I think intelligence like that coming your way is really, really helpful from people that have got vulnerabilities. So if you can just pop in now and then and just show your face, maybe on a Wednesday, because there's a lot of people in there, I think it would help with the overall picture across, to be honest.
Yeah. I'll do that.
But thank God you got that all. And did that happen to be somewhere down the end of town? Oh, how did? I hope so.
I think there's just one more.
Yeah, that links to the hub really, just in terms of community engagement in general to wrap up. So first of all, parking. There's been a lot of concerns raised around St Joseph's Roman Catholic Primary School. It's the avenue, is the road by that. And basically drop off and pick up time. A lot of people have been parking over people's drives, where the curb dips, and also too close to the junctions, which have meant that it's almost inevitable that there's going to be, an incident there. So just last Tuesday, Busy Townsend and I were out there, just gave loads of words of advice, moved a few cars on, and obviously, we will be continuing to do that. And we have liaised with the Civil Parking Authority, so we're looking to hopefully try and get them down there as well. And just a few words of advice and a few sort of shows of, yes, we're out here, we are taking it seriously. It can be enough to deter people from doing that. But obviously we'd appreciate parking is a big issue, town's only getting bigger, more cars, and any issues like that, we do take them seriously. So feel free to have some more.
Okay. I don't know if it's still the case because there is new owners there. But previously we set up an agreement with the Prince of Wales that car park could be used. I don't know if they're still using it but there is new owners there now. I don't know whether it's worth having a chin wag with them, see if it's possible.
Something to be relooked at. I think that the agreement's lapsed.
Yeah.
I think recently. I know there's some agreements with possibly the Common Club, is it on the corner, which is paying parking as well.
Common Club's got different owners, different management as well now. So I think both coinciding. Yeah.
Has it kicked it off again?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and it is hard when people have been used to having those, but we've made it clear to the drivers there through words of advice that if you follow the avenue down to the right, there's a road at the bottom, and that's almost always empty.
Do they have a walking train in St Joseph's or anything like that?
Let's leave that.
Okay.
I'll
ask each
and Chris.
If somebody parks within 10 metres of a junction, can you issue them a ticket, or is that the county council?
Yeah, to issue. Okay. But
Thank you.
At this stage, we've been doing words of advice. Obviously, if the problem persists and people aren't taking any notice and it's the same offenders, then we have that power. But for the time being, it's words of advice.
Okay, that's good.
It's huge issue down by Lower.
Where is it, sir?
Down by Lower, the same.
Okay.
Yeah, so going back to community engagement in general, links in with the hub. We've spoken with Local Blue, including the Rainbows, and we've brought down our Safe Neighbourhoods team van to these different youth groups to engage with young people about issues facing them in the town. we'll of course be looking to bring it back to the hub because that's an opportunity there to go out to help people. It's not specific to the town itself, but poaching has been a bit of an issue that's come around obviously in the countryside. And West Mercia Police as a whole are looking to address this through an operation called Jetwing. And that's where we target poaching in the area through rural patrols and engagement, especially. So we are aware, we are taking it seriously. I know it's not sort of happening obviously in the town itself.
There's a lot more coming up soon as well, won't there? Christmas on the horizon.
Yeah, obviously there's an operation there which has had a lot of thought and intel
Yeah.
supporting that. And then just to conclude on further operations, West Mercia-wide, there's OpSector, which is an eye-crime and amnesty, which obviously is very important, especially with young people, young boys especially. Op-Insure, if you're an uninsured driver, the chances of you being involved in an accident are much higher than if you're not. Chances of drink driving, drug driving, they all increase, they all correlate. So just today we've been out and about driving around Ross and on the A40, looking to obviously get tickets and take cars off the road that are uninsured. And finally, the Christmas drink drive campaign will obviously be coming back into force because that's something which you see an increase on around the winter months. So that concludes basically the work we've been doing, and obviously if anyone has any extra questions, we'd be glad to take them.
If I can ask something, Chair. The life amnesty, are you seeing more signatures? Because I've noticed more life activity.
I haven't got the data, so
Yeah.
I'm not saying either way, but if that's something probably last year's data, then we can compare
Yeah,
issues.
absolutely. Where is the amnesty box? Have we got an amnesty box in Ross? Or do they need to go? Because there used to be one.
It
didn't
used to- yeah,
They used to be.
they're normally in the big central stations, but if it's such thing that people can at least come in and speak to an officer and hand it in.
I
I know it's got
been with some young people, but actually when they went to hand in, they were thrown on the floor and arrested. So we need to know that young people are safe to use that amnesty.
Yeah.
Will be supported.
If we went down to the hub, so that.
Yeah, I mean, probably BYT would be a good place to go and talk about a life amnesty. If they want a hand in at the hub and me hand in, I don't mind doing that either. Well, it happens to do that. So if they don't want, sometimes they'd like to be anonymous. I don't mind that. If they want a hand in to me, I'll hand in anything to the police station. I'd just rather they were given them over.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Take the record. I know that, well, I don't know whether we can see my. Oh, yeah, yes, there's also, but when is the Christmas?
30th of November, Christmas fair, if you want to do those 30th. 30th, but usually there's some police presence around, just
Are you going to the fair, Christmas fair?
Christmas.
Sorry,
Are we going to the fair?
yeah, Christmas fair.
I don't know which date it has landed in my inbox, but I just think it's my duty, but if I can be there, we'll definitely be there.
It's the 30th of November.
30th of November. I can't find that, looking at my duties.
No, I just thought I'd say.
I want to say that I've checked them. 9 times 7, I'm sure that I'm on duty. And I will be there.
That'd be great. Okay, thank you. We'll move on to the rest of the.
Thank you.
Harold, Shelbourne, Councillor Ward.
Yes. I mean, I would urge you all to read the leaders' newsletter that I circulated last week. That really is a comprehensive update of everything that's going on in Hertfordshire, which obviously includes a lot of the stuff that we get involved in as council members. I just want to cover one point tonight, and I'm not going to apologise for raising again this fair funding formula and its impact on Hertfordshire. SMB, which is Group Management Board members, had a preliminary discussion with, the leader, the cabinet member for finance, and the chief executive and the M151 officer. We discussed a number of issues that are going to come out of the discussions that we're going to have at the workshop on the budget. I did spell out to you that this fair funding formula is very unfair on Herefordshire. It's made up of two elements. One is the needs element, which is made up of a number of metrics of what they call deprivation. And I do think rural identifiers always suffer in terms of being able to convince them that our problem is deprivation. But the more serious point, and a point I raised at the meeting, and this is one of the things I want to bring to your attention tonight, is that when we take the resource element, which is basically what we can collect in council tax, and take that off the needs element, what they do to us is they take the average for England, which is much higher than the actual Band D amount in Hereford, and therefore we're losing out on two counts. Now, I said to the chief exec that we should really go back to ministers and really sit with that. If we use the actual Band D amount instead of the average amount, the deficit would fall from 27 million in the first year to 12. It has a 15 million impact. You want to?
Herefordshire, the national average per 1,000 people for homelessness is 12. Herefordshire is 16. I think we are the highest in the UK.
Well, that should be made clear.
Oh, it has been.
I mean, okay, if someone's actually made clear, but that impact on just that figure being inflated without even arguing over the metrics.
Yeah.
It's a 50 million deficit. And what I want to stress here, this is not just a 1 year problem, this is a 3 year settlement. So the deficit going to accumulate each year. And while it may seem distant to town and parish councils at the moment, we're not used to making savings of 27 million a year. Plus how to make savings beyond that. 12 million is a challenge, but it is more in line with what we were doing before. What concerns me, talking as a town council now, Chair, is what might be coming down the road if Herefordshire is really struggling with something that it cannot cope with in terms of revenue budget. It may be that they'll be asking town and parish councils to take up some of the suggestions that they are going to find in terms of trying to provide non-discretionary. So that's particularly. That's the warning I want to give. It's not going to be settled until Christmas. But we're not going to get a Christmas gift from this government. I think Rachel Reeves has already signalled that the budget's going to be very difficult. But it's totally unfair that we have been penalised and been a well-run council for the profligacy and the bad investments that other councils have made.
It's not fair. We need to think about that when we start talking about council tax.
Yeah, well, we do, but I said to the chief exec, go back to ministers and make the point this is unfair. Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Andy.
I thought you.
Chris.
Well, thanks, Mr. Chairman. So, in the last month, I've helped out at the Tudorville Little Pit on Sunday, the 26th of October. I walked the length of the town and country trail, and it was gratifyingly free of litter. Very little to pick up. The next litter pick's on the 16th of November, starting at 10 o'clock, Wilton Road Car Park. Good to see some other councillors there. I laid the County Council Chairman's wreath at the prospect yesterday. The size of the attendance was very impressive. I'd just like to thank all who took part and all those who organised the event, because I know from having organised a few things over the years myself, what a huge amount of work goes into putting events like that together. With so many elements involved, there's always the potential for something going not quite right, but it passed off without a hitch. So thanks once again to all those taking part and organising. And we've got a remembrance event at the Market House tomorrow. Get there about 10 to 11. I've established that new permanent pumps were installed at St Mary's Garden Village on the 29th of October, apparently. And I'm hoping that the issue of a persistent smell of sewage in my ward can be put to bed on a permanent basis. And finally, I cleared up the leaves on the path on Ledbury Road last week with the help of a resident. You'll all be familiar with the narrow bit of road just up from the co-op where there's a pathway on only one side of the road. Since then, of course, another lot of leaves have come down, so I'll be up there again soon. But the reason for doing that is I've had several comments this year and in previous years that leaving the leaves to rot is an accident and slip hazard, particularly when it's icy.
Is Herefordshire County Council planning on sending one of its road sweepers out to sweep up the leaves?
I don't believe that's part of the contract, Mr. Chairman, so we could report it and nothing could happen until next winter or until somebody falls out.
Ask you to inquire
I can inquire.
on there. I think it's important.
If you could actually, the three county councillors could inquire, then it's three people.
Yeah.
Same question.
Without sounding disingenuous, we have a couple of minutes for county councillors' reports. And I genuinely do believe only about 10 seconds was spent on reporting of what Councillor Bartram has done in his county councillor duties. I don't wish to be rude, but I do think we need to start having written reports to stop this.
Well, the written report is really circulated by Louis, which is on, what's going on there. The leaders report that has everything. So really, they're only providing what's in addition to that, for which you all have a copy of.
Yes,
We don't have that worked out, but we don't have other reports worked out.
Maybe we need to stop this then.
yeah,
Because if it's not going to actually be beneficial, it's another.
it's not.
I understand that we're not getting any benefit, and that has been communicated before. I'll ask the three county councillors whether or not, well, do the other councillors want this agenda item to continue or change or?
I think there is some value of having a report from our county councillors, but I don't think there's any value in it being verbal, a written one sent around pre-meeting that we can read is absolutely fine.
So really, it's the leaders' report.
Well, my report would just refer to the leaders newsletter, the chief exec's newsletter we get every week. And I'm not going to cover my Facebook because my Facebook to me is confidential to me and the residents. But I do see those newsletters as quite key to keeping the town council informed of what we are doing as a county council.
So I think one more.
Yeah, the only thing I'm saying, obviously, the newspaper is being used for county councillors' summary. Right, so members of the public, as long as those summaries are about county councillors' work, which is what it should be, not about quizzes or anything else, or about sweeping up paths. It is about work that you're paid to do as county councillors. I think our public have an absolute right to know about what their county councillors are doing for the bursary that they are paid. And if they cannot give a decent summary verbally or written or in the newspaper, maybe they should rethink whether they are actually doing
Okay,
what
well,
they're supposed to be doing with their money,
That's
what they're spending.
okay. I'm going to move on. I understand. I think three county councillors all work very hard for right. And there is the newsletter that's circulated, the chief executive report is circulated.
But we're not told. what they're doing.
And my articles are all about county council work.
I know.
Okay, you have no members of the public here, unless yourselves would like to say something. No. Okay, to resolve and exclude members of the press and public, we do have a confidential item later on in the agenda. In order to exclude them, I'll certainly propose that. Sarah will second that. All those in favour? Okay, I think that's unanimous. Okay. Management committee meeting minutes. Confirm the signed minutes of tonight's meeting. which was dated the 13th of October. Has anybody got any issues with them? If not, I'll propose them. Can I have a seconder, please? Katie is the seconder. All those in favour?
I'm not saying because I wasn't here.
Okay. One abstain, and everyone else. And subcommittees. To receive and note the minutes of the meeting, minutes of the following meetings and approve any recommendations. We had a personnel meeting on the 7th of October, planning and development subcommittee meeting on the 21st, community subcommittee meeting on the 3rd of November, where it resolved it was agreed to proceed with supply number 2 for the maintenance of the Ross-on-Wye Centre hedges at a cost of £1,330 plus VAT, to recommend that the management committee approve the transfer up to that amount from the immediate contingency earmarked reserve. Cost for future hedge maintenance will be included in the recommended budget proposal for 26-27 for council. So John is not here, is he? So this is where under our lease agreement, it's our responsibility to trigger, but the kindness of our hearts of the centre has until recently done that. So we now need to incur this cost. We have an EMR that's available for that, and that's where I propose that we do. So I'm quite happy to propose that. And many of all seconders, all those in favour? Passed. The next one is to recommend that the management committee approve expenditure of up to £5,000 for initial training, further training both for this financial year of the community's contingency earmarked reserve, and also for I presume that's set a budget of 26-27 for that amount. I think what has come about is some of our training, our operative training in particular, the time expiring, and we need refresher training plus some additional training for staff. So I'm quite happy to propose that. Sorry.
Can I just ask, does that include training up to trainer's level, or is that just basic training for the people that've got on there?
It could be both.
Okay, secondly.
So, who is it?
Producer.
Sorry, second. It's all those in favour. Okay, let's pass. The third one is to recommend that the management committee approved expenditure to the sum agreed in the community's contingency earmarked reserve for mapping requirements of the Ross Cemetery. This is £500. Up to 1,000. Okay.
I thought we had some IT that we bought into for marking the cemetery, and that we'd agreed expenditure on that some time ago. I don't know what this is.
So we're not sure which bits are consecrated and which bits aren't.
So it's, are we going to use that app that we got to do that?
Well, that shows the locations, but what we don't know is which is the unconsecrated bit of the cemetery. That we've not known that at the same time. And we obviously need to know that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so it's costs to the diocese to get a map of which areas, so it's for the solicitor to look in, diocese solicitor. to look
So we
in.
believe some of it is consecrated.
Yes, definitely.
Most of
There's there's records to say that there it is, but we haven't got a map to show which areas.
I think we need to pay for it, don't we? Because
Now the second of Dan is the second of all those in favour.
I'm just not on the committee.
Yeah.
So we pass. To approve the winding up of the, so we're going on to the working group, so approve the winding up of the employee documentation work on group. I'll presume Sarah will want to propose that. So, the employee documentation working group. I'll second that, all those in favour. The next one is to receive a recommendation from the merit selection working group and consider adoption. So I'll presume that we thank you on this.
It proved pretty well impossible to get everybody together. So we had Councillor McAvoy and I had an extensive conversation. I have spoken to all the local town clerks that I could find. And I have summarised, I hope you've all seen these, I've summarised the pros and cons of the various methods that I could find. And just looking at it, there was a very clear advantage that was felt with recommending that we move to a list based on medical surface. It's very easy to do, it's totally fair. Nobody can be accused of any bias or preference in any way. It rewards long service, which is quite a nice thing to do. It makes sure that whoever is mayor and deputy are experienced councillors who know the workings of the council. Those are just some of the pros. There's no soft involved. There's no real issues that we could find against it, and a lot of advantages. So that was very much the recommendation for moving to that method. But the discussion, several people raised the issue that I don't know how it came about, I wasn't on council at the time, the role of mayor was significantly changed by the formation of a management committee. It removed to a large extent the power of the mayor and made it much more of just a ceremonial civic duty that we felt was a great pity, disadvantage, and not being required to serve on all committees, as it certainly mayor and deputy were up until 2018, if I was on all committees myself. And it was extremely useful because the mayor and the deputy absolutely knew what was going on with all of the committees, and therefore they had a good grasp of the whole running of the council during that year. And we felt that that was important for the chairman of the council to do that. So it was a strong recommendation that we consider returning to that procedure and the role of the mayor at the same time.
So, any,
There is the report there, which you can see is there, but it explains all of that, and this is explaining all of the analysis that went into it.
that's it.
I have no problem supporting the long service thing. I think that makes sense in a lot of ways. I have a big problem with supporting putting the two roles back together, because I don't see how anybody with a job or any serious commitment in other aspects of their life could do everything, because there is so much to do now.
Well, we've done it in the past.
I think councils have got a lot more complex.
Oh, I worked full time, and I didn't have any problem attending all the committee meetings.
Right, let's not have it to and fro, so Michelle.
I think it's a really interesting discussion to have, but it's not on the agenda for tonight. I think it is. The how to elect is, but not the actual putting together wasn't the working.
It isn't on that.
So it is on the agenda,
Yeah.
which I agree with you, is the terms of reference doesn't include the organisation of the council, it's just that role. So, I'll come to that later, but, so is there anything else you'd like?
No, I support them, so.
So, what I will say that the mayor is the chair, or is the formal chair of the council.
Absolutely.
I'm not the chair of the council.
No, that's right, but you take more.
But the reason the role was split is because it was too much for, it was thought for the mayor to basically fund the internal mechanism. I think, I'm sure in saying that I'd never really promoted myself, but always promoted the mayor. And there, and I'll stay in the background because I think it's important that whoever chairs the management committee fully supports the mayor and everything that they do. And they're externally there. I'm just trying to, or the chair of the management committee should be doing all of the internal stuff. And it was set up in order to break those two roles, to allow the mayor to be more outward facing, and for people who were worried about chairing their meetings, etc., that they would actually volunteer to be that mayor. So I'll go to Millie and if you want to.
Yeah, I think that brings 2 points up. I know that there has been conversations where people have been overlooked to be mayor because it was said that they could not run a meeting or could not chair a meeting, but they still didn't get the mayoral role anyway. So actually you splitting the mayor and the chair has made no difference because you have still chosen who you want to choose. Obviously, there's been a lot of public debate about this, and I think we've got to listen. We're elected by our electorate. We know what the electorate want. I think there is time that we stop beating around the bush, being deceptive, and actually give the electorate what they want. I think Councillor Coker has worked extremely hard on a brilliant report that summarises why the mayor and the chair should not be split. And actually, if you're working, it's pretty hard, as has been shown by Lyndon, to meet all of the, all of the things that you have to do as a mayor anyway. But I do think that a mayor should know about every single committee.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you might as well just say, we'll chuck names into a hat because it's a civic role anyway. I think it's undermining the mayor. Totally. And I think it's been used for the incorrect reason. So I would like to see the chair giving back to the mayor. Actually, it's not just a mayor's role.
We've had quite long discussions with Councillor Coker about this, and I was quite uneasy about the length of service side of it, because there could be very many people that come to the council that actually would be absolutely fantastic mayors in the role of which it currently is, which is only civic and front facing, because that's the way that it was changed to. Yes, I respect you saying that the mayor is actually the chair, because legally that's how it has to be, and it wasn't actually seen in good light of the change. And being the incoming deputy mayor and mayor at that time of the change, it was absolutely horrible. Me and the then clerk had a horrible time with it. We saw a lot of advice, which the advice was that this isn't standard practice, you shouldn't be doing this, we do not recommend it happening. But the idea behind it is that we could support mayors from other parties, then we would be seen to be sort of supporting everybody, and the chairmanship could be kept with, the controlling party at that time, so they remained the control. That's how it was seen. That's how it was seen by people in legislative roles, and we did seek advice. And I will say it on our recording, I was physically told, do not take this any further because your life will be made absolute hell. And I was given a list of other councils where this had happened and said, this is what will happen. So don't do it unless you want a fight on your hands. So I did not. Since then, I've been told numerous times, look at us, we supported you as mayor. I was a political pawn, that's all I was. I don't appreciate being referred to as that person in that political way. And I don't believe that the current way as it is set up is necessarily correct in the way that it's done. However, I do appreciate that there is an element of it where mayors who may not have the time to do it can still be a great ambassador for this town. But they still need to be given the respect and responsibility, and other people need to be given that chance to sit in that role and actually have a bit more chairmanship by keeping the ex officio of all meetings and being in on any meetings that you as chair of the management committee have, and or any other responsibilities that make great decisions on this council.
So what you're suggesting is that the mayor is also an ex officio.
Yeah, absolutely, and they would sit on any of the other decisions and or meetings that you would sit on as the chair.
I agree.
I'll go to the member.
When I'm talking here about the governance and the management of the council, and in a way, you can't really judge how you want to choose a mayor until you sort out the second item, Chair. Because if the mayor is to revert back to the role that we discussed and decided against pre-2023 because of the onerous tasks that we would be putting on the mayor to be both outward looking and also the chair of the operational side of the committee of the council, then if we did decide, looking at the management committee and full council, and decide to merge it again, then we may not want to, in those circumstances, go to a length of service choice. They may want to look, as Councillor Lister has said, we would be able to cope with both being an outward facing ambassador, but also able to manage the operational affairs of the council. That is a much wider issue, I think. And that's something that the council has to decide.
Before I go on to Lincoln, what I will say, there is no reason why the mayor and the chair of management couldn't be one of them.
I agree. I'm not saying that. Yeah.
And
On a light-hearted note, disappointed not to see reference to Bromley in the report, because they do serve 2 or more years. I'm not suggesting that we should do that. The recommendation from the report, I've struggled to reconcile that with the terms of reference, and I think that perhaps needs more work. Because the recommendation is to abolish the management committee. It's sort of a point of order, really, that the management committee cannot abolish itself. That has to be done by ordinance, and that's set down in the scheme of delegation. So I think this report is the first step. I think we've heard more from other people around splitting, merging the chairs, and I think maybe the terms of reference needs to be wider for this group.
Can I just say terms of reference haven't officially been agreed, so they're due to be on the agenda. So, but Councillor Coker haven't done the terms of reference that wasn't included on the agenda, but they haven't, so the terms of reference haven't actually been agreed as such.
I'm going to go to Kate first.
It's just a quick reply to Louis. You don't have to say yes. If you can't, if you feel that you can't cope with being the mayor, then you just say no. You know, and that's the difference. Yeah, it's just about, for one, it's about giving everybody the chance to do it. And if you can't do it, then you just say no.
But this is not, sorry.
It's about both of it, isn't it?
It's about.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, basically, I mean, you can have it one way or the other. You can either continue allowing the mayor to merely be a civic role and actually play fair and not vote politically, or you can have it that the mayor is the chair, and then we get some robust training in for any councillors that feel that they might like to do the role. But what you can't do is have it both ways, because it's simply unfair.
Okay.
I think we talk about the workload for the chair, the workload for the mayor. But what we mustn't forget is we are one council. We're meant to be working together, we're meant to be supporting each other. So in another council, we used to meet regularly as chairs. All of the chairs of all the committees, which was mixed denomination, would all meet up. We would have regular chats. Anybody that was put onto a working party would meet with people that had those expertise. We all met together, and everybody got a chance to be a chair, to be in a role, in a leading role, etc. So we need to remember that it's not just on one person, because I also understand you have a lot of workload, you have a lot of stress put onto you, and that isn't fair in itself either. So we need to bear that in mind for you, for Carla, the staff, and for all of us as individual councils from whichever party that we're from, that whoever is in whichever seat, we're all there to support each other, and that's something that we need to do a hell of a lot more.
Supposed to be working together.
Exactly, and this goes to Councillor Stark. When you refer to the changes pre-23, and Will suggested that it happened actually when I came to deputy mayor in 2020. You refer to we did this, we did that. Who are you referring to that we? Because actually the decision was made by the Lib Dem.
No, the council agreed. I know it's a majority decision.
The majority of the
Agreed,
Lib
and
Dem.
it
It wasn't we. It was we as in the Lib Dem, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't we
Yes.
the Dems, it was we the council.
Yes.
It's majority.
Did the mayor have any say in that decision?
They got it, but yes.
Against it.
And that was it, simple as that.
It was close. Party, wasn't it?
Yes. Forgive my ignorance, being from you. There's three recommendations. Is it
Yeah.
possible to vote on just one of them, or do we have to vote on all three of them?
We can vote individually on them, and I think the task was that anything but this wouldn't actually take effect until the next elected council.
That's practical, because if you leave it until the next election, then you've got to have chosen the new, within, was it 2 weeks of the election? I think it needs to be done at least the year before, and then if the next council come along and want to change it, that's entirely up to them, that's a different issue, but I think it's impractical to try and do it. You've just been elected, bang, that's in now, it's never been done before, and it's got to be decided within 14 days. I think that would be, I would suggest at least the year prior to the election, or even next year.
So the proposal is to bring this in,
As soon as it's practical,
So
but before
right.
the next election.
so May 26th. Okay.
Okay, thank you. As is clear, what's 2 and 3 are quite contentious, and 1 maybe less so. I forgot to add, about a month ago, I had a really good conversation with council staff about, because I managed to sit on many of the subgroups, the feeling of what we do and how we do it. And we both had a really good conversation where we said, the amount of noise that comes from the residents into the council, they don't see what we do. Every subgroup committee is only doing what they want to do for the best wishes of the people out there. They don't see that, unfortunately. And I just thought this might be a good opportunity for them to see us as a council with one voice.
Yes, yeah.
So maybe just the first point, and then we can maybe revisit the other 2 points.
I think, I was certainly going to say that we will defer 2 and 3 to the next full council meeting, which would be in February, so people can really think about it. Come to that, but we literally split the roles because of the workload. So I would certainly agreed to, well, it's your thing, so Barry, you would like to take these three recommendations separately, if you don't mind.
That's right.
One is the adoption of length of service method for the future selection of the town mayor from May, starting from May 26th.
Chris has been having that for a long
Oh,
time.
sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I mean, I was on the advisory committee, and I emailed councillor Coker, and I said at the end of a bit of a rant about possible costs to the town if the mayor was publicly elected. I said, so all in all, I'm fairly relaxed about trialling a seniority system, but if we are to go for that, I believe it should start if the then elected councillors want it from May 27 after the next local elections. Because after all, we might have 18 completely different councillors who might want to go back to the old system or a new system. So, and I agree with Councillor McAvoy. Well, I agree with Councillor Delves that to approve the immediate abolition, we can't abolish ourselves, and it was not part of the terms of reference. In fact, it was a bit of a surprise to me when this was put forward as a recommendation, because
You were one of the, unfortunately, I did try to get everybody.
I know it's very difficult. You can't get six of them.
Majority, so.
But it wasn't. It wasn't part of. It wasn't part. It wasn't part of. It wasn't part of the terms of reference. So actually, I don't think you should be even talking about it. Fine if it goes to the next meeting of full council, but it's just come totally out of the blue.
I would like to say, I know that Councillor Coker reached out to me, Katie, Danny. We had discussions about it. I couldn't make a meeting because I was actually at another meeting in the council office about something else. So,
Yeah,
even I can't.
We'd all been talking at once.
so, yeah. Right. So if we take those three recommendations, I understand. The first one is, Barry, you are recommending to the council to adopt the length of service method for the future selection for the town mayor from May 26th. Chris, is yours an amendment to that?
Well, I would ask the proposer if she'd be willing to amend her proposal, in which case I could support it.
The only difficulty is if you leave it until the new council, if you're going to say that's going to come in after the election, it's being changed to that, then they haven't got time to do it. I thought they had to have.
Well, not really. If you've got 18 new councillors, how on earth, I know when I was in the council, the first.
It's irrelevant because there's 18 brand new councillors there and all got equal length of service. So it's
If there was 18 council, when has that ever happened?
well,
Ever. It's not happened.
So if it's an length of service that starts from there, then I don't think it's beyond the Whittle.
Yeah.
So I thought that in previous discussions, that's when it was going to be.
No, why would it?
Yeah,
In previous meeting, I don't know.
where would we start?
Why would it?
We could do that with everything.
Why are we waiting such a big issue?
Yeah.
Yeah, can we ask the clerk, is there constitutional changes here?
No.
Have we changed the way the mayor is selected?
No.
No, I think it's standing order.
Standing orders, so we would have to amend standing orders. And there's a process by it, we have to go through that anyway. So we could only initially agree to it.
Yeah.
Full council will still have to agree the amendments to the standing
It would have
orders.
to, there would have to be an amendment standing orders that
So
go
we
to
have to
full
put it
council.
One of yours is there for a vote, wouldn't you? Sorry.
We're just even put on the agenda for the tangential.
Right. That's a film. Last one, and then I really want to bring it to.
Just vote for the longest service for the deputy mayor next year. And then they would all.
Yes, I was going to say, you didn't actually put a recommendation as in the proposal. And I would certainly agree that if Councillor Freer wishes to become mayor next year, in circumstances, it would not be unreasonable to allow her to do so, provided she was nominated and approved. and that it would start with the deputy.
That to me is the most smoothest
Start, so
thing to do.
makes everybody happy to accept that, yes. We didn't put exactly a year in the proposal, it was this notice.
I mean, either way, I'm not being rude, I don't want to beat around the bush, but either way, that pushing it back to a full council, because either way, even if with all the work that Valerie's done, we all know that there are only X amount of non-Lib Dems, right? And this is what's happened every single vote, and it will be pushed back through. If I'm wrong, prove me wrong. That's
Yeah. There's a majority of the Dems on the around this table.
that's
Yeah. And look how it go.
yeah, exactly.
It's,
Yeah.
anyway,
So, does that satisfy you, Chris?
If you agree with councillor Setchfield, well, yes, I could vote for that.
Yes, I'm certainly happy that councillor Freer should be considered. And it starts with electing, the chart would start with who was the deputy.
so the proposal then is starting with next year's deputy,
Yes.
being the longest term, longest member.
Yes. And then you have a list, and then obviously when you've served, you move to the bottom of the list. If you don't wish to serve in a particular year, then maybe that you would like to do it if you can't that year, so you would have the choice of dropping down and moving one down. It's very straightforward, as everybody can see, and totally
Okay. So I think it's the actual procedure here.
not particularly, but.
So what I'm going to suggest is on the, we vote for the principal, the
Yeah.
longest serving, starting with the deputy, just for next year.
Yeah.
So then it will continue
Absolutely.
on, there. In principle, we will then ask the clerk to raise, I don't know, I suppose a procedure on how to actually work or flow.
I mean, as I said, I've obtained that from Evesham Council because I'm very friendly with the former mayor.
Well, if they have a procedure.
Yes, they have, and the only things that I could think of would be, well, what if, for example, 3 or 4 people are elected on the same.
I'm going for a so
Can I just say one thing? The only thing that makes me, I mean, I think it'd be about the best we could get. But the only thing that makes me very hesitant, if as a council, you have any form of intelligence in who you want to be seen or shone a light on to be the next county councillor. Because there does seem to be
don't be going off the agenda. I do want to come back to this vote. So I think it's more a voting principle, starting with the deputy mayor. I think what we would like is for the February full council, we need a procedure to be formally adopted, so it's there in writing. So you're going to propose that, I presume?
Yes, absolutely.
Can I have a seconder for that? So Mac is going to. Can I have show of hands who are in favour of it? 1, 2, 3, lots of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Michelle's understanding because I've got. She's not in here. The basically of one evening.
Yeah.
We're just taking.
There's against.
Yeah, but we're taking it instead of saying one.
So 1 against, 2 against. Any abstentions? 1 abstention. So that's passed.
So that's for a procedure, recommendation to full council in February with a procedure for that to be. The procedure to be adopted with the view to amend the family orders to reflect it.
Yeah. Or amend. Yeah. So can I ask, Valerie and Matt, to Yeah, so, if I can. I was going to defer items 2 and 3 until the February full council, because that's really when that should be discussed.
Full council in December.
It is due to, because I've got the accounts have to be accepting that as the full council.
Oh, is it?
Accounts, okay,
Full council December.
So that was what I've got on the agenda.
okay, right, that's fine then, okay, we come to that, so we defer those 2 items to December. Okay, thank you, we'll move on then, and then we're going to approve the winding up of the mayoral selection working group, so thank you, that's a task and finished group, I presume you wish to propose that. Someone saying
It's not finished yet, no, it's not, well, it's not finished yet, it's not finished yet, they've still got some stuff to do. Oh, yes.
No.
Do you need any further work on it?
Well, it'd be getting that ready for. Stuff needed to be done.
Do you want to clarify the process?
Yeah.
well, yeah, it's now been handed to the clerk to write out in process.
I'll be happy.
But formally, so we can. Do you want to actually defer this item to I think it's fine.
To be honest, I'm quite easy either way, it makes no difference. I don't think the group as such need to meet, I think.
I think if it's not being wound up, then we need to agree terms of reference because they haven't been agreed, not at this meeting, so it's not.
I think it's fine.
I think that's fair enough. I'm not aware.
So you're quite happy to provide winding up, and clearly you're going to second all those in favour.
So hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 4.
Those against? Abstaining? 1, 2. You're abstaining.
So there's that 9, 4 then. We've still not got, so that's on the 11, 9, 4, 2 abstentions.
So can we have the votes again? So,
Oh, 4 points, okay, so that's 10, 4, 2 abstentions.
Okay.
And did you close that then?
it was Valerie proposed it.
Okay.
Yes. And we seconded it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
To give the police the option.
You can stay or go if you, but it's up to you.
We're not getting paid.
Yeah, and then we'll go for a patrol and.
Yeah, get out.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Next one, yeah.
While you're out on your patrol, you could tell members of the public how wonderful this is, and you get people through the door.
They work really hard.
Right, thank you.
Bye.
Right, to receive and note the updated scheduled meetings from the relevant conveners.
Hello. Play group had a meeting on the 7th of November where we discussed quite a lot of things. It's really good work and we'll be having one again soon, but I don't know when at the moment.
Can we have more notice next time? Because I work and it's impossible for me to just look a couple of days
I
notice.
did announce it at the meeting and I sent you a text because I know you don't.
Yeah, I've always had 2 days prior,
Yeah.
for
Thank you.
whether I wasn't, don't I?
Yeah, we'll try and give as much notice as possible. Okay, State Park, I don't know whether Danny you had,
Well, really, the only update is that we've got the consultation that's gone out. That's on Thursday, this Thursday coming, at the town council offices, 2 till 6 p.m. There's posters, so if you haven't shared it, please do share it. They've also got a Facebook page, Wilton Park, please share it. But if people can't come to that meeting, 'cause it is a very obscure time, just like how Herefordshire Council like to put these meetings in. You can do it online, so there is a QR code, you can scan it. There's many people, even if you don't use the skate park, your views on the green space around it and what should be involved in it, it is absolutely important as well. So please do that.
It's the consultation itself, so open to the 14th.
Yes, yeah, sorry, yeah, it is open till 14th December, yeah. You haven't got just this Thursday to do it, yeah.
I think there might be, because of things that's been in the press about somewhere near. I think there might be a lot of people turning up asking whether it's safe, etc., etc. So I think it'll be inundated by people querying.
There's lots of questions been coming through like that. There isn't an official response yet.
No.
But the response from me personally is that it's in consultation. They're not digging the ground tomorrow. Hopefully the issues that have been flagged up will be resolved. Currently the skate park that is there is built on top of. There's been no groundworks or dug down, so it hasn't interfered with any of the ground underneath. So it hasn't posed any problems. So it's absolutely safe and sufficient to use. If it wasn't, then Herefordshire Council would close the skate park and the area down. So at the minute, it's completely safe, no need to panic, and the skate park at the moment is still safe.
And from the first meeting that we had at the new skate park, it was mentioned.
It was, absolutely.
Okay, so we've got that. So thank you. Maybe the development plan, there's nothing to proceed on that. And we're really, it's a watching brief. Really to when we can start that. And in probably documentation has gone changing places.
Changing places. I had a meeting with the with Dan Harvey, thank you, with him, who talks to lots of other disabled people within his, has produced a list of things he would like collectively like in the changing places facilities, which is great, really interesting. Really interesting learning. We've had an email from somebody in property services, sort of loosely, Wye Valley National Landscapes. It's still the same sort of, yes, we'll pay, but they're not really, I'm not sure how much you want, whether an email is saying, yes, we'll pay for the plans to future or not is enough. Because we had that before. I don't think they've said anything different in the emails that he's had.
Okay.
So, I don't know that, because we're using very often if it's there,
It's been there.
they're not saying here's, we will allocate 15 grand and everyone's available for that. Because they want to go ahead with the other things as well. So, a kind of between a rock and hard.
Okay. So we're some of the F&B agenda. Yeah. Okay. We'll look at it then. See how we can fund it. Okay. Ukraine twinning. So Councillor Driscoll's not here.
I can give you an update.
Okay. Thank you.
So we are waiting on a date. We're looking at the beginning of December for the signing of the agreement. I sat on another meeting with Jane for the whole of Herefordshire because we're looking at doing the whole of the region then, because it's very similar to Ross and Herefordshire. Anyway, but they're looking at more about the children, so about bringing the kids in and about education, etc. I've been to Strongfield as well and had a meeting with them, and they're really keen on doing a gift for us to take back and talk about resources and how we can help either way.
Yeah. Okay. And I presume we need to organise the gift from town council.
That's what we're doing. I think that's Ed is dealing with that one actually.
Okay.
And that's where we discussed it last time.
It has scope.
Yeah, you have.
That's what
I think he does want to move forward, so then
we will.
General.
But I'll leave it for the mayor to organise the gift. So. Okay. Mayoral selection, we've already spoken about. Most announcements.
A few things listed. 14th of October, I attended the mayor's meeting at Hereford Town Hall on Ross-on-Wye. On 16th of October, I hosted the mayor's charity quiz at King's Head. We raised almost £400. So thank you for those who attended and helped to organise. On the 19th of October, I attended a Christians Against Poverty church service at Baptist Church to celebrate their 15-year anniversary. On the 25th of October, I attended the cross planting service on Broad Street to mark the start of the Poplar Field. On the 2nd of November, I visited Herefordshire Riding for disabled and true mothers on the access. That's why I think it opened. And yesterday, I made a reborn of Town Council as part of the remembrance ceremony at Prospect, and then attended the subsequent church service.
Okay. Finance, income and expenditure. Oh, sorry. And close.
We've got on the agenda, but the order about St Mary's Churchyard, so we will come to that later. The email to request a copy of the electoral register was sent to councillors on the 20th of October. The police reports that having arrived in time to previous meetings were circulated on the 20th of October. And along with the Crane Twinning working group as well. The parish summit slides and charter were circulated on the 21st of October, and they also provided an updated recording that was circulated on the 24th of October. PTC newsletters been sent around on the 3rd of November. There were reports of fireworks being let off at the roadport that were reported to us. We let the police know, and they said that as reports of this had been posted on Facebook rather than run through on 101 at the time, they'd been doing patrols but weren't there at the time that it was happening. So they'd advised that if people could ring through, so we did let the people that had reported that to us know that if it carried on, it could be reported at the time rather than after the event.
I've had some reports.
Yeah. The Holmes Road car park charging is due to commence on the 1st of January. So a press release has been published on that, and Herefordshire Council are arranging to publish the notice of variation on that. Twinning meeting, it was agreed to have 6 monthly update meetings for all the twinning associations, but Jane hasn't been getting much of a response to her email for dates other than everything you came back to her. So can the reps please let Jane know some dates so that can be arranged? Danny's already mentioned the skate park consultation and the Ukraine. Katie's already mentioned the Ukraine twinning signing. So I think other than that, I think that's everything.
Okay, any questions? Okay.
But yeah, I had some responses in regard to the 101 reporting that residents were having very long waits. I don't want to mention times because they could be wrong, because but they have been having very long waits. So I think it would be important that any of us, if we get that complaint, that we give them the right network to complain about 101 in effect, because it can be quite a long time.
Yeah, so yeah, I thought it might be when you said it was.
Yeah, not all the time. Yeah. I've been there 45 minutes before now, and it's just gone dead.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So finance, income and expenditure. To review budget information for the year to date. I think we're with 4 months, 5 months ago.
Yeah.
5 months ago. And we had a budgeted income of let's call it 720,000. We're projected to get, 768,000 pounds, so it's an increase of 47,000 pounds. Over 10,000 of that is due to our investments, isn't it?
Yeah,
So,
well done.
12,000 is due to that, so since we started actively managing the CCLA fund, which we have 600,000 in, we're actually going to start more money. Right, which we didn't budget for, but what's the rest, so roughly in grants income?
Grants and cemetery.
Okay, so grants and cemetery, well, the additional one, 47.
Yeah, but there's more than
Oh,
budgeted
yeah.
and markets are also performing well as well.
Okay, so that's good. On the expenditure, we said we'd spend 783,000 pounds. We're projected to spend 872, so that's almost 9,000 pounds more. And that's because we made a lot of commitments this year. Most of it is coming out of EMR, so earmarked reserves. So that's the property portfolio fund, or the amenities contingency earmarked we're budgeting tonight as well. There's reducing our general fund as well. So the projected expenditures from now until the end of the FY is another 400,000. So, and we have 500,000 now currently in the general fund. So we just about used it all up. So we must have a balanced budget at the end of this year. Previous 3 years, I think we set a deficit budget. So I'll just give that a warning. If anybody's got any details that which goes through on the expenditure.
I mean, the only point to make is that about 20,000 of that was unbudgeted for the town hall. And that's an investment. It's not as if this extra money is just being wasted in terms of being spent on vanity projects, whatever. By investing in what we did in the town hall, we have actually improved the lifetime of this building.
Yeah.
And that is actually quite a good investment. So although we may be obviously spending more than we expected, it's a time for spending. And I think sometimes we need to make that clear for those for the public to know exactly where the spend is going.
It came from the property portfolio fund, which we have over 200,000 in there. And that was set up precisely to.
But we need to know that the money's just not being wasted, it's actually spent.
It's absolutely fine to make those investments, councillor Stark, as long as we've got the money to continue investing in those properties and maintaining those properties.
Yeah.
So as councillor Watson said, it's going to be a very interesting talk when it comes to the budget.
Yeah.
No more deficit.
Yeah.
There's that. Has anyone got any questions on that? Okay, finance accounts for payments, for receiving and approved the check or payments that follow. Anybody got any questions on that? Okay, so we need to have a vote on this.
Yeah.
So I'll send for these, the second of these, versus the second of all those in favour. So that's unanimous.
I don't know if any of the other signatories are available because Bev can't do them. It's any signatories available to come in on Wednesday to authorise if there's. Councillor Pope isn't able to. Oh, lovely, thank you.
Okay.
That's
Do I need to take it?
No, thank you.
To receive and note details of payments made since the last meeting. So, going vote on those two.
Yeah.
So, no one's got any questions, we'll move on. Health and safety.
Unfortunately, the operations manager wasn't in today, so I haven't got the report for this, and that'll have to be deferred.
But no one's actually, you're not aware
No.
that anyone's been injured.
No,
So that's good. Thank you. And Ross-on-Wye Town Council strategy on forward planning. Consider options for workshops with leadership by Becky Walsh, Council Culture, and expenditure from reserves, putting close, but reserve.
yeah, I wasn't able, I thought the proposal would be coming, but I haven't received it in time for the meeting. So there's been some emails back and forth to discuss possible formats for further workshops. So she's provided a proposal for a further workshop following on from the Wednesday session. We did a final workshop to finish off what was discussed at the Wednesday, and then some other workshops to go through projects for the council to form a strategy and for forward planning purposes. There was some discussion about what format that could have, and that makes a big change to the cost depending on how many sessions. I know Julian and I had discussed possible having one per subcommittee, a half day one per subcommittee, then leading into the final one. But that does make the cost increase quite significantly. So whether there's another way of doing it, but basically it's up for discussion at the moment as to what you'd like to see to get the proposal based on that. So to give you an idea, if we were going to have a follow-up session from the Wednesday session, a session for each of the 3 subcommittees that have budgets, and with a rounding up session that came to just over £5,000 for all of those sessions.
So the reason wasn't to not have all councils together, it's just to try and manage each of the facilities. So there'd be a amenities focus one, or I don't know, the environment and
But what happens if you're not on any subcommittee?
It would include staff as well on the sessions.
so there was not restricting the attendance, it was just trying to restrict the agenda to enable it to be more focused.
I understand, I think that makes sense, but can we have, you know, it's good to get all bums on the seats, but also councillors do need to be engaging with the training. And I think a lot of councillors were engaging, but some councillors didn't turn up, and some councillors, when they did turn up, didn't engage at all. And I think it's a lot of money to be spending, unless we're actually going to get some meat off the bones on it, really. I think Becky is brilliant.
Yes, yeah.
It's down to that family interact.
I think training is right, but based on this evening's meeting, the learning that we did from the Wednesday session has not been applied this evening.
Okay.
No.
So
you think?
I understand. I'm not going to. That's. I don't want to dismiss what you're saying. I think that's important. I just wasn't going to comment further on that. Is that Tam?
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree. It's a lot of money, but if it's going to be a benefit, then I have no reason to disagree. I would just hope, as I did ask Becky on the previous meetings, that they would be recorded for later viewing, and or for those people that can't be there.
She felt she didn't want to do that because people might not be as open within the session if it was being recorded, because that was discussed.
I think that's a valid point. However, then recordings would only be staying within the confined walls of this council, and the value of it is great, and not everybody will be able to attend all of these sessions. And if you're only getting 1 or 2 people attending them, then it's not value for money, and it's not money well spent.
Yeah.
We need to have a format where that is, even if there's some form of technology, if I did, so I'd say go to an IT company and ask them, but
Yes.
there must be, if people know about that, there must be some form of technology that can rub out what they say, but 9 times out of 10, what they're saying is actually really, really important, really important. You know, like Councillor Freer tonight saying about how some of that training hasn't been, that's a really important point. But I want to know what that is and why that is. So you don't have to say now, but an email or something, because we're never going to learn. And we're not going to learn from how people are feeling if we can't hear what people are feeling.
No,
And I can't afford to have time off work to come to those meetings.
no, which is why I want to try and make it focused, where it may be focused that we could have to in the evening rather than an all-day event. Something like that. I'm going to go to Valerie first.
Just a very quick one, could the meeting be included on a Zoom or a Teams meeting? Because very often I'm working on Saturday morning and evening, but I probably could join the Teams meeting then.
We could have hybrid meeting.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yes, I'm not suggesting just that.
So we need a working AP system. So is that many, and then I'll go to.
Having spoken to quite a few councillors after the training and after a few meetings that have happened after the training, I think the general feeling is that actually the training has helped an awful lot. I think up until today, we have had some really, really successful meetings after the training actually. So I disagree with, you know, I do think we've had some really, really successful meetings since training.
Okay.
Will Becky be able to provide a report at the end of a subsequent set of training days?
Yeah.
So that if that was available, that would answer those questions about, you know, other people not benefiting.
I would have thought so. I can confirm with her exactly what.
Yeah. I get the dilemma about, you know, being on camera essentially and people speaking in a different way.
What I would that if that training was be subject. That's the end.
The hybrid meeting is probably the answer, isn't it?
I've had one going chest infection for a few weeks.
I'm not quite sure on how to proceed with that. We all think it's a good idea. We're worried about cost. Should the clerk and I take it away? I don't think it would affect the budget in there, because some of our major projects that I have to cut out cloth, we could change around anyway, but we could try and have it before that meeting. Anyway,
Is there an option to have a single meeting with everybody involved that doesn't cost that £5,000?
There is not, that's one of the options that she considered.
But it'd be an all-day event.
I'd just like to ask, Mark, over the years, have we actually used our councillor training budget in any serious way?
No, not for many years. This is that obviously with the training so far, it's gone over budget this year, but for many years, I mean, certainly since I've been here, the councillor training budget has very rarely been used at all and never completely spent.
Okay. Thank you.
So, shall I take this away and come up with a fund proposal for December's meeting?
Yes, I will second that.
Is there a preference, engaging preference as to how many sessions, times a day, days a week?
I think it would be better split in three. I think there's too much to do in order to a proper strategy that is going to work. I think that is way overreaching on one day. And also, I think if you do it with one day, what happens is, because each committee will want their slice, and I think we'll end up with people sort of across committees disagreeing with how that should go, whereas if it's all focused on each committee is strategically thinking about what their role is within the council, rather than the overlap. So I think you probably get a better degree of work done with that. And I think when pushed together then as a strategy, I think it probably work together better.
Certainly I feel that we're getting better inputs into that, and that which we could perhaps dilute.
And I know it's a lot of money, but actually,
It's still fun.
if it's £2,000 and then it doesn't work, then that's complete waste.
Well, we've got to try something.
Yeah.
I think.
I agree.
Okay, so I'll propose that, I take it away with the clerk to put some bit more meat on this focus in terms of how we do it. So I did notice that Becky had given a format, etc., which we could try and adopt. So I'll bring it back to December's meeting. So that's fine. Do we need to vote on that or probably not?
No, because I think if
Okay.
we just, yeah.
Well, it's probably to vote until.
Yeah. Just saying that.
Yeah, okay. So we come on to policies. To consider the adoption of the following policy as the council of vacancy and co-option procedure. That will replace the current co-option procedure. This will put, this will be not only for co-options but also for future elections. Has anyone got any problems with that? No.
Of course. Yeah, I did ask that it be put down in the policy about no secret ballots, so I think that's really important. It was put in ad hoc on the last co-option we had, I believe.
Seems standing orders, I think, but that's.
Yeah, but I did bring it up last time, and that's why I don't like. And whether, you know, because it was voted through that night that there would be a blind ballot. The blind ballot papers were already written out, even though it hadn't been discussed on the agenda prior. So it was voted through with an overwhelming vote.
The problem is that any councillor has the right to go for a named vote or a secret ballot on any agenda.
I understand that, but I think with co-opting, I really do think that members of the public should have an awareness. And I don't see why that would become a problem if you were actually voting who you truly believe should be the person voting in. It leaves very little wiggle room for the public to sort of question the council's motive, and I think we need to be seen as being open and having integrity, and I don't think that secret ballot does that.
Okay.
Are the secret ballots, I know the answer to this, but are they named on the piece of paper of who's done that, so the clerk knows who's done that, and are they privy to freedom of information?
Yeah, that's a good shout.
And there won't be a councillor's name on
No,
it.
it would just be the name of the.
I know the answer, I'm just making a point for the camera.
Yeah, so it would be pointless then.
Exactly.
Yeah. I just think it is so disingenuous. You know, it's sly, it's sneaky, it's underhand, and it really, really, really draws criticism from the public, and I think rightly so.
Well, it says voting to fill the vacancy, you've only comply with the council. Council standing orders. So where does it say in there that there will be as a blind vote?
No, it was pushed through the last time on a vote on the night. Without it ever going on the agenda that there was going to be a vote for there to be a blind vote. It was pushed through at the last minute. It wasn't on the agenda that it was going to be a secret ballot. And it was pushed through, and lo and behold, the clerk at the time had all those paper chitties written out, even though it wasn't on the agenda and wasn't going to come up, that it was going to be a secret ballot. I just found it extremely disingenuous, which I did tell the clerk at the time.
Trouble is, the standing orders would, these changed, these are all the new ones, aren't they?
That is not, yeah, so that isn't the,
That's not the updated.
no,
But that would still, there should be still,
that wouldn't have changed, no.
So, Chris, you're probably one of the more knowledgeable people on standing orders.
I don't have a copy in front of me, Mr. Chairman, so my comments are not based on anything apart from maybe a dim recollection, but I'm not quite sure on the point being made. So I'd rather say nothing unless I actually saw the standing orders in front of me.
I suppose
The previous co-option wasn't done on the secret vote at all.
no, it's if a councillor wishes to prove that, they can actually ask for it. It's done. That's, I think is the, well, it has been in the past when I know that councillors have asked for either a named vote, which is.
But there can only be, one reason that I can think of, that people want the secret ballot.
Yeah, so I just want to be clear, Councillor Baldwin, what is it you're actually asking for? Is it that we cannot do?
Yeah,
That right is taken away, and it's still in here that we don't.
Yeah, that we do not have secret ballots on the co-option.
Okay, thank you.
Unless standing orders provide otherwise, voting on a question shall be by show of hands at the request of the councillor. The voting on any question shall be recorded as to show whether each councillor present and voting gave their vote for or against that question. Such a request shall be made before moving on to the next item of the business on the agenda. If at least two members so request, a paper ballot may be used. So that's what's in our standing orders. So it's on it.
Why can't they be changed then?
Well, I don't know. Is that a legal right or
That's not involved, so that is.
no?
It's changed, so can I put it to the council that we change that for the purpose of integrity and clarity for members of the public?
So the only thing that if it's just for this one issue,
Yes, it is.
then I would agree with that.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't. I would like it still to be the right of two councillors to say we would like a secret ballot.
But then if it's the right of two
No, that's
councillors.
for other things.
For other things, absolutely. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not asking for it, we're talking about that
Would that
policy.
be possible as well?
That's,
You could change the word, yeah, because it's not kind of bold, you could
So
change that. Amend the
looking at standing orders on the election what and so.
Do a secret ballot for anything else.
yeah.
Because as a council, unless it's confidential, we should be open and honest to
With
everybody.
each other as well.
Yeah, and everybody who votes us in, so actually we should be doing it all stop.
Asking for a secret ballot is sometimes to prevent harassment, whether you're in a party or excluded. I don't want to give up that right. So it's to ask for secret ballots on it.
I'm dealing with this agenda item at the moment, and I'm dealing with this at the moment. I think there is a much larger discussion to be had, which may be something that Becky can help us with. I think there's a distinct lack of trust between the different parties. And I think that does need to be addressed, and I think secret ballots actually really does enforce that lack of trust between each other, and I think that needs re-establishing.
Can I just jump in quickly? I do agree with the harassment side of things, but I would hope nobody that sits around this table would ever think of harassing and being horrible to another council member.
I would hope so as well, but that's generally why it's in there.
Just want to jump on and mirror that point. Harassment may not be from ourselves. Can they be from our own parties?
Yeah, so that's why we don't have the party.
Yeah.
That's why I'm independent. Don't get harassed by
I won't get into that because I'll ask it on my SID box. Okay, and
I'd like to remove the date at the next elections for this policy. And this, just because we have to change it again. What's the purpose having that?
I take that one, yeah,
Just the sentence where it's the next elections will be in May 27. Seems to
okay. And you want it, so, okay, we're going to say that, voting for, co-option will not be secret, will not be by secret ballot.
In this policy, in addition to standing orders?
In addition to standing orders.
Okay.
And then we will move to amend standing orders, so that will take precedence for this. Okay. Well, I presume maybe you can propose that.
Absolutely.
I have a second of these, so it's Katie's second. All those in favour? Okay, so that's unanimous. Okay, thank you. So to review the following policies, recording of the town council's meeting procedure policy. So we'll review that after 6 months. I'm assuming that the council wants to proceed with recording of these meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to continue with it because the comments that I've had have been in line really about the behaviour meetings.
Okay, thank you. We don't have to vote on this. Standard review, it's nothing to change.
No.
Want to get changed to that?
The only question I have is at what stage are we at with actually recording all meetings? Because of course there's some meetings where some of those comments made aren't recorded.
Absolutely.
I'd like all meetings to be recorded, but until we have the working review system.
We have one we've got for absolutely nothing, which I recommend we use in the first place.
So, what is the workload on this starting to? I know Danny's doing.
I would say because we haven't really had a spell of the equipment working fully, I get that we've got that to use in the meantime, but it would be good to actually get the solution, whatever we're using, formalised. So I'm not against doing it, but I would maybe request just not yet until we can nail down this is a more smoother process. To possibly review again.
So can I suggest for a review at a report?
Quite long.
That's a long way. Well, he's been working on this for about 5 years, maybe more. I'm starting to get very tired now. I've seen the back end process. I appreciate what our clerk says, and I would be happy to support a delay. But the back of house is you need to edit the meeting ever so slightly at the front. If you start it early, at the end, there may be sometimes a bit of snipping, but quite often it can go straight up. Once it's downloaded onto the cloud, and then it can just be added to YouTube. Tonight, we started the meeting about 10 minutes early, so there will be a 10-minute clip. But again, that is fairly straightforward. I don't need to be rude. But I think, you know, I would happily support a delay, but maybe of 1 month, perhaps starting, well, 2 months, starting January. I can't see why we need to delay it any further.
Okay.
Can't we leave it to the clerk's discretion, because you know what's actually happening?
I think we need to vote on this meeting.
No,
I
okay.
said to review.
I think there's a huge, just from the accessibility point of view. You know, since I've been a councillor and I've been up to the old council meetings, definitely there are less people coming to this office than the last council meetings, because it is very difficult, I think, accessibility. People feel really awkward that there is not enough room when we do have a full house of public participants, which then puts them off coming again the next time.
There was only more room at the exchange.
There was, I remember counting, well, I remember counting 19 people.
I would say based on exchange, I would say more people have attended meetings here than attended any of my meetings at the Corn Exchange.
The only meeting that was busier, I think, is the one after the flooding here. We've had a couple of big incidents. But as I remember counting 23 people in the Corn Exchange when it was coming up about the Jackalow line. So, but anyway, we've got to think about the accessibility point of view, and some people just can't come up here. Some people don't, if they're wheelchair users and they're not self-propelled, they might not have anyone to take them out this time of night.
Okay.
I don't want you to have extra work, but is there a way of actually telling how many people access the recording?
Yeah, about 22 people.
22 people.
22 down viewings. That's all.
Right, okay. So we're not really talking about very many people, are we?
We've got to base that on how we publicised it, how we're promoting it, and how we're putting it on.
It's 22 people that wouldn't have seen it.
I think 18 is on the councillors.
We can't get 18 councillors to the meeting, Julian, there's not much a video.
Yeah. I think I proposed that we review doing all meetings at the January meeting. I really want this IT system fixed. I think.
Yeah, review it then. If it means you start in April, fine, but
Yeah.
you know, for the goals.
Is that deferring this policy that is the policy?
No, not deferring.
Okay.
In terms of recording the other meetings, I will put that on as an agenda item for the January.
Just trying to remember, it doesn't specify which meetings in this policy, do you think?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Let's simply start with this one.
Okay.
Savings.
Review, meeting recording in January.
Yes. And then the next one is councillor and staff safety policy, which there are some amendments to. Has anyone got any comments? No? So I'll propose. Sorry.
Sorry. So it says we try to ensure the surgery room has easy access to a landline, has clear and agreed procedure dealing with call for assistance, has an arm link to the reception, is in view of the reception or public area, or has living panel on the floor. There is the accessory items in the room which could be used as weapons, has split means to escape, and any visitors not able to block the door from the inside.
Yeah. None of that can be attempted, it can be.
Yeah.
Try, but we can't.
Yeah, but so it's, no. But obvious, this is the loan working policy. and we're asking to adopt it, and we know that that is not doable in the situation that we're in. Why is it in the lone workers policy?
It's,
Because that's the way it should be, so we're absolutely,
no, it's not. The lone working, is above it. It's
Yeah.
to councillors' surgeries.
yeah, okay, then, so the councillors' surgeries, should we still be doing them if we are not able to do any of that? Like, this is our policy for keeping councillors safe. And we know that we're not able to do that in the library. It's not worth the paper it's written on. How can you ask the council to adopt a policy that is impossible to manage?
Which I don't think we necessarily need easy access to a van. We will have no effect.
Really?
I'm assuming that people do.
You know, so if someone takes your mobile phone, I just put, like, what is the point in putting it in there then? What is it even in there? You're asking the policy to go through and then.
That's fine, it's a very good point.
Yeah.
What would you like that change to?
Well, there's no clear and agreed procedure for dealing with a call for assistance. There's no alarm linked to the reception. It's not in view of the reception or public area and has a vision panel in the door. It doesn't have easy access to a landline. So that entire bit of councillors' surgery is absolutely,
I would say bullet point 4, we do apply to, because it has a vision panel in the door and there is.
that can't be seen. Right, that can't be seen. That can't be seen unless you're round that corner looking into it. I'm certainly not happy to vote this through when it's been written up.
But it's what our current policy is, so I grant you that it says try to.
And I did bring it up last time, but we were actually not,
So,
going on with
we couldn't do
the policy.
that. The word says try, it does not say do, which are really is semantics.
But it's like saying try to ensure,
So,
I'm sorry, I'm still speaking. It says try to ensure, right, you might as well say try to ensure that there's a jacuzzi in the bottom of
I understand. So, I'm going to propose that we extend this meeting by
5 hours.
20 minutes.
So say that, do.
30 minutes, and okay, I'll propose it.
I second it.
All those in favour? Okay, those against? Abstaining?
I'm against.
One against. Okay. So, go.
I'm sorry, my brain has gone to mush over this. I know it's important that we get the documentation sorted out properly, but it's also important that we hang on to common sense. I have done loads of cancer surgeries in the library. I have never felt unsafe at all.
Yeah, but you haven't had death threats, Beth.
No,
So
I haven't
there you
had
go.
that.
Congratulations for being safe. And actually, you've just had both of them.
But you don't do cancers. You don't do cancer surgeries in the library.
I've had death threats, Bev.
I'm sorry you can't.
Very real ones where perpetrators turned up at my son's house and tried to stab him multiple times. I shouldn't have to be going through this. It's been voted through. I don't understand why you need to address that, you know?
Are we still on, we're still on that policy?
Well,
We go through that.
We're still on the council and staff safety policy.
Yeah.
So have we got other opinions on this policy? I understand that not all councillors feel that they can are safe, and I've certainly been in that position myself. Not to the same extent as you, Marie, by any stretch of the imagination. I haven't felt. Because of your circumstances, I don't think, well, I don't take the opinion of other councillors, whether they should participate in councillor surgeries or not.
I don't, the thing is, Danny, I and Katie went down and did a thing in the marketplace, actually, because I do like to try murder, and the three perpetrators turned up down their bed. So, like, please, like, it's very motive.
I understand that, but Danny, did you want to say anything?
I was going to say that the market house ones have been passed. Yeah, so I think it's absolutely fine, Councillor Boylan, for you to come along to those. And if you don't feel comfortable doing the rugby ones, then you absolutely don't have to go. And we as councillors support you in that, and we'll take that on board. And that, yeah, we take it on board. I think that's just what we need to leave it.
So I'm going to, we've got some changes. I'm going to bring it to a place. I'll propose this policy.
What changes?
I'm, well, you've got the.
Oh, just those, I thought you meant other ones.
You need a policy to safeguard staff.
Yeah. I'll do that. Councillor said it's a voluntary, we've got them both at the library, and we've got mentioned the market house.
No, this was originally put on the agenda in April before that was agreed. So it's been deferred, kept getting deferred, so it hasn't been updated since the.
So we need to defer it again until the update's put in.
Well, it's only probably, when we just put at Ross Library and under the market house, everything else will stay.
So I gave you the market house.
So, Ross Library and under the market house. For those, you know, for those councillors' questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my proposal. So Sarah seconded, all those in favour? Okay, all those against? Abstentions? No abstention, okay. And scheduling meetings for 26, 27.
It's usually not is strictly scrolling forwards and backwards. It's much easier to set.
Okay, I'll pass that on to them.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So we've got the council, the schedule of meetings there, I think. In June, we have to vote for the in June we vote for the actual end of the report that we've counting.
Yeah.
We normally have the finance and property just prior to that.
Okay.
We could have moved to Monday first.
Yeah.
And I think some of them have got one at the end of January. So just there's a finance and property one that will move from the 23rd of June to Monday. That's simply to review in detail the what? The AGAR, which is the annual return, which is the legal requirement. To do that. I think that's the only differences I see as an agreement with adopt these. So we need to vote on this.
Yes,
yeah, so I'll propose Casey will second favour. So that's part. Okay, as we're short on time, so we have the so we appoint representatives of outside bodies where required, and we need to nominate a town council representative for consideration by Herefordshire County bid. So Councillor Driscoll has been to scroll informally before. The prior to the meeting, said we'd like to continue with that.
Might just be letting you know what the, so when Dean Bid contacted us about this, I wasn't sure whether when initially he'd been appointed, there was talk about it rotating around the market town, so I wasn't sure if what the system was. So they've come back to me to say, we're still looking to rotate the town council representative director role around the market towns. However, this will depend on the interest we get from town councillors for the position. In regards to directors being appointed, should any person choose to nominate themselves as a director, this will happen at the AGM and be voted upon also at the AGM. Only eligible individuals who put themselves forward for consideration and are voted in as directors in line with our bid rules, business articles, will be appointed. And then the meeting's happening this week, so I need to let them know straight after the meeting.
Yeah. So, Heather Driscoll has said he would like his name to be put forward. I was just wondering, is there anyone else from this council who'd like to be that representative?
I'd like to put my name forward.
Okay, so there's two names. So can we, is there anything else? So can we have a vote on, first of all, for Ed O'Driscoll to be the director? And that all those in favour?
2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5, 4.
5, yeah. And Millie?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5.
So that means to have the casting vote. So I should go for Ed O'Driscoll.
I'm not saying. I'm not saying.
You're staying.
Okay.
Were all the others that didn't vote for all abstentions, or were there any against? I need to record that.
So that then.
But
Abstention.
if you, were you just upset, was there anyone
Right.
against?
But we had 5 votes for Ed O'Driscoll. We had another 5 votes for Millie.
Yeah, but we haven't got against and abstentions for the,
Okay, so the rest had an opportunity and they're all abstaining.
that's what I'm just checking, is everybody else abstaining?
Yeah.
No against, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, with regards to the,
Right, 1 minute.
That doesn't add
It
up.
doesn't add up. So you've got 2
Abstentions.
abstentions, which is 5 and 5. Isn't it? So you've got 5, yeah.
Huh?
Even with the count. Right.
That's still 5 and 5.
I'll still 5.
but chair, there's a casting vote.
Casting vote.
Gets 2 votes.
Okay.
Can I just go back to the representative, we skipped the other representatives on outside bodies, so there are some vacancies still, and I've been asked by the community association that they can, if they can have 2 representatives, because they said that what was always the case previously. The community association, they haven't got any reps at the moment, but they've asked that there have been 1, but they've asked that we go back to the 2 if possible. So there's 2 rep vacancies on the community association and 1 on the PCC. And we also haven't, which isn't on here, but is under CM&T, so it probably should be on here. We used to have a armed forces rep, didn't we?
I'd love to be
That's
an
still on
armed
there?
forces rep.
Okay.
No,
There isn't.
no. So I'll have to get back up to John for the next one.
We'll have that. Is anybody interested in being on the board of the community association?
But I have it explained actually what it is.
So it's basically the running of the marathon. So director level, it's not operationally running, it's
Director level, yeah.
and they use sort of director.
No, I have stepped away from the centre.
Okay.
I think Saskia might have an interest in that. Obviously, she's not here.
I don't know.
No,
No,
right. Okay.
We actually own the
Yeah, okay.
therapist.
So twisted my arm.
Okay. So thank you. So we need a second one of that is.
I've got a conflict of interest,
No,
it would be too difficult.
So, okay, so we've got one.
Yeah, one, two.
Could you ask whether or not those councillors who are not present, seeing whether they'd like to also be?
I'll put it on the next agenda with the armed forces representative
Okay.
as well. Okay, but for now, just one,
Well,
Councillor
so
Brown,
would you do the vote at the end?
Yeah.
Okay.
okay.
The next one, the Procol Church Council, is there anyone who'd like to come to that one? Put me down for that one. Okay,
Can we recommend Councillor McAvoy for the armed forces one, as he has that background?
Absolutely.
If he wishes to accept.
Yeah, well.
No,
No.
okay.
I'm more than happy to put my hand.
okay, right, thank you,
Let's
Matt.
have the background.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are the proposals. So Chris Bartram joined the Board of Community Association. I joined the Board of Church Council, and Matt with the Armed Forces Veterans Representative. So if I so I'll propose all three of those. We can have a seconder, please. So Millie's second. All those in favour? All those in favour, Chris?
I can't vote myself, then, can I?
Well, you're posting the others in.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's unanimous. And if I could ask you to circulate for the ones who are not here,
Yeah.
if they would like to join. Okay. Thank you.
Can I briefly bring up, I know, well, it is on the agenda, so it said it there on the agenda. London Women Association, I'd just like to raise the issue, as I've raised it numerous times. John Cole's actually pulled out now of taking their young people to London. It's been deemed too dangerous. Are we still going to keep twinning with this place?
It was agreed to review it in February, but.
And obviously that was because it was seen and said at the time that John Curl valued the diversity, etc., etc. They have deemed it too unsafe for their teachers as well as their students.
Yeah.
Go on.
It's only a really quick thing on the end, is they are still supporting the school
Yes.
over there, but they're just
I understand.
going over.
No, well, precisely. So, that's what I was going to say. The school still supports the school over there. And they're not withdrawing their support from it. And I don't see why this council should withdraw its support.
They're not withdrawing their financial support.
They're not going over there.
They're not going over.
Yeah.
So, you know, they can't possibly go.
Why is that so, like?
It's because.
Because it's too dangerous.
Exactly.
Because of their human rights, because of their gay.
It's not exclusively to do with their gay rights, but they are still linked with the school.
They're still
In
linked.
ways that,
Yeah.
I would like it to remain linked with the community of the
Dan,
I think, Councillor Boylan, if I understand correctly, you wish to propose that the town council steps away from the twin of.
Absolutely.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
So then we need to have a proposal put forward for that to the full
I'll put
council,
that on the next agenda.
so that can be discussed.
that was going to be on the February one, so down for the February meeting. Okay. Okay, so from the other appointed councillors, is there anything that they'd like to raise from this? I know we've got Matt's report on this. Is there anything particularly wish to?
No, I recognise the time for it and it was passed it around.
Thank you for that.
The Education Foundation paid grants of about £2,000.
Okay, anything else? No, good. New charter for Herefordshire councils to consider adoption of the charter of Herefordshire Council. Closed. So we've seen this charter. Anybody got any comments? Yeah. Okay.
We might have a 196 wish list already.
Yeah.
Do we?
Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you, lovely.
It's under planning.
Uh-huh. Right.
Okay. So if we're not, if there's no players, then I propose that we adopt this. I presume you want to adopt this. It make your life easier.
I mean, yeah, it's good to be able to hold them to it. It's been quite controversial that there are councils that aren't adopting it. But we have successfully managed to get responses by citing their.
Any dangerous obligations on us, so I'll propose. So I'm glad to second it. Favour. Okay. Frampton Abbotts Primary School and Bridgestone Primary School, to consider any comments on the proposed changes to the emission policies. I'm just wondering why
They have to consult, so they've had to contact us as part of their consultation. So you don't have to comment, but they are obliged to.
Can I suggest this is considered by council? Under their limit. Intervention.
Okay.
So we defer that on to planning. So it's getting late for this. We need to vote on that.
I think that can do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you propose it.
No, but we do, but we generally do.
So
We need to be above board, come on.
second is committee, all those. There's down proposed. Technically, second. All those.
Yeah.
I was pleased I picked up on that.
Okay, thank you. St Mary's Churchyard, Russell.
Just to receive a note, the document that we've received, the notification.
Okay. We don't have responsibility for this, do we?
No, we don't.
Okay.
We don't, but legally, if Herefordshire Council wanted to recharge us for the maintenance, they could. They've not done that so far with any others,
Okay,
but legally they are entitled to recharge us.
okay, we might consider taking on this. Maybe we will change this. Okay, and to confirm dates for the next scheduled meeting, I'll propose. We've got a full council on the 8th of December. For any items, we've captured a couple through here, so standing orders. Okay.
I believe, wasn't there one there as well for the county council reports to be written, pre-circulated rather than verbal?
Yes.
Yeah. But I would say that, and I've changed that some to be the review of the. We would like that done. Be written rather, yeah.
Well, the said council puts a proposal in, then after that proposal needs to come to the table.
Okay. I think it's one or two things.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the end of the public meeting. And we don't have plenty of time to say thank you.
Fine, then.